What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, your favorite gentleman, DeMarlo West, the creator and host of When Men Talk. Listen, this is a platform where we are breaking stereotypes, we're breaking barriers and dismantling myths. Join me and my guest when men talk. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of When Men Talk. I am super excited. Y'all, I got my co-host, my boy, my brother, Patrick Munn here.
Yes,
Man,
yes.
we're doing some great stuff, but more importantly, we got some amazing guests on. Anthony Jackson.
Hello, how you doing?
Kevin Mason.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm over here sucking in because I'm trying not to be judged by this man. So I am so excited to have these gentlemen on, and we're going to jump right on in. So with that being said, this is what I want to ask. As you know, men, we are very concerned and very more prone or prompt, if you will, to get into the gym. We set these fitness goals, get into the gym, and I know you've seen it and heard it more times than you could probably count of how many people, you know, guys come in, I want to look like this, I want to look like this. But my question is not only aesthetically, what do you feel that fitness, what does that do for a man outside of his outer appearance? What does that do for him?
Well, first, let me say thank you for having me here.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you having me here.
Glad
Thank
you're
you
here.
guys for that. But, you know, for me, what I feel, I'll speak personally first, and then I'll also touch on how I feel it affects my clients. But me as a man, fitness, it helps me, one, with self-confidence.
Yes.
You know, definitely self-confidence.
Definitely.
It gives you a sense and a feeling of self-confidence. Also, it gives you a feeling of accomplishment. Just something as simple as getting up and going to the gym.
Yeah.
Real simple.
Yeah.
That's a feeling of accomplishment that I got up this morning, this afternoon, and I went into the gym and I put in some work. Those are the two key things I initially say that comes to mind when I think about what fitness does for me. And outside of the, all the physical stuff and all the health stuff we'll talk about, eventually. But just personally, just that sense of accomplishment and confidence within the man.
Yeah. What you think, Anthony?
It also helps with mental well-being because it also helps you to release stress. It also helps release those feel-good hormones such as endorphins and dopamine, which you need to help regulate your emotional well-being. So sometimes when I'm depressed or what have you, I would go to the gym. After doing about an hour and a half, you feel better about yourself. You have that little emotional rush, that little burst of energy or what have you. And then you go home and you sleep much better at night.
That is true.
Yeah.
And, I find
better.
it helps me, it gives me energy. If that makes any sense. Like if I can go to the gym in the morning, the rest of my day is so nice and smooth. I just have more go. Mm-hmm. So I think it gives me energy. If I go work out, I feel like I can conquer it.
Yeah.
This day gonna be easy. It's gonna be an easy day. So
See, for me, it's all of those things. But the first thing that often comes to my mind is that I think about years to come. I want to be that person in my older and more wiser years, still able to be mobile, still able to get around, and I want to aesthetically, yes, look nice, but internally, I want it to match.
absolutely, it has
See
to
what I'm
match.
saying? It has to match because you can have a nice body, but on the inside, it's trash, depending on what you're putting in it and all of that good stuff. But how do you think the connection of all of those things about, looking good and what it does for you in terms of sleeping at night, what does it do for his masculinity and security?
When that personal fitness or that when you work out, you definitely have a sense of security, meaning I can protect better. I look good. Maybe it'll scare people off if I'm sitting here and I'm buff or I look solid or I'm just I don't look like the regular person. When I step into the room, it's like, dude, bigger than everybody in here. Don't mess with him. Mm-hmm. On the other side, you have it attracts females or whatever you're into. It attracts that to you because you look good. So personal fitness or working out or whatever, it attracts, it brings things into you. Like it just makes you feel good. For me, it makes me feel good.
I would definitely add to that when you look at it from a biological standpoint, that's because physical fitness, especially when you're doing resistance training, it definitely, research shows that it actually helps men with their testosterone production, which adds into what you just said about that feeling of security and that feeling of masculinity. And then you're giving off that masculine energy to attract, others to you because you are building, you're strengthening and building more testosterone, which is, that male hormone that all men have. So yeah, it definitely helps with that. And a lot of times, a lot of men don't realize that, resistance training, some men feel like, oh, I'm getting older, I don't necessarily need to do resistance training. Well, actually you do, because it's just going to support your body to keep your testosterone levels higher, because we naturally lose those as we get older, especially when you get over 40, your muscle development starts to decrease, as well as your testosterone. So by staying in a routine and a regimen, that's going to help you and aid in
when you're aging, like getting 60, 70,
exactly.
85. Yeah. It's definitely going to help down the line.
It's the judgment. But when you talk about, I have a tendency to think on this level. Like I those things, like you said, are biologically true. All of those things are so factual. But when I touch the vein of, really, why is he in here though? What brought him here?
What you mean by why is he in here?
In the gym.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Why? My bad. Why is he in the gym? Where does he feel insecure? Does working out, like you touched it a little bit. You said that, yeah, it can be, if I'm fit, I walk into a room, there's a certain level of attraction that's gonna happen. Or I'm the biggest dude in the room.
I feel safe. I come in and I feel safe.
But if you were not that, could you still walk in that same confidence of saying nobody's gonna bother me?
That depends on the person. So if you know how if you go in the gym and you see somebody and you ask that same question, like, what is he doing in here? Like, he don't look like he should be in here, meaning he's very small. He when he get done working out, his arm's so far away from his body, like there's nothing in between. You see that person, like, it depends on the person. If he go into the area and his confidence is just high because of who he is, he can feel like I'm safe. Or he can have a strap on him, so to say, or he might know martial arts. Like, it's different reasons why you can go somewhere and feel safe. But you have people that feel like, because of my body structure, my size, when I walk into this room, nobody gonna mess with me. Because they like, nah, if he hit me or if he kicked me, like, I'm gonna be through. So he's safe. So you have people that work out for those reasons. That's not even for health. It's just, I want to look good. Yeah. I want to look like, don't bother me.
We were talking earlier, and you probably can speak to this, Anthony. From a mental health standpoint, have you seen in your experience where men are more prone or more amped, if you will, to go and get a gym membership and start a regimen? Kevin have seen it. They'll probably come at the top of the year. That's probably the busiest time where, they will come at the top of the year. But in your experience, what have you seen, like how can I put this? Have you seen that same enthusiasm from a man to go to the gym as he would to come get therapy?
No.
And why do you think that is so? Why don't he demonstrate that same energy?
I think
because that's a workout.
I think because people fear the unknown. People have anxiety around seeking therapy. Men are taught from a young age to be, not show emotions or what have you. You're supposed to be strong. We don't tell people our business or what have you. We don't go to therapy because therapy is for crazy people, and we're not crazy, right? So it's more acceptable to go to the gym, throw a couple racks around or what have you, blow off a little steam or what have you, instead of coming in here and getting this healing. it's easier to go to the gym and work out than to process those emotions that we may have repressed, or those emotions from childhood, or that trauma that we don't want to talk about or that we don't want to deal with.
It's scary to go to a therapist. People think because you want me to give you who I really am, and you don't need to know that person. But I can go in this gym and who you see, you gonna think that's me. That ain't me either. You know what I mean? I just look like this, but when I leave out of here, I go home and ball up. My big butt balling up in it. I'm over here with muscles everywhere, and I'm balling up because I fear whatever it is that they may fear.
Yeah.
We spoke a little earlier, you know, with him being a therapist or a counselor. Therapist sounds scary. Therapist sounds like I got to confess it all. Where counselor is like, he gonna relate.
When I hear that he won't come and, you know, that's a vulnerable space for a man.
It is.
To release all of those things. But in the gym, he will come and Kevin will give him instructions and he,
No problem.
it's no problem. But then what happens though when he comes? Have you ever experienced, Kevin, when you had a gentleman to come in the gym and he's putting his best foot forward, but because the education in you can quickly detect that something is going on.
Right.
And he's here for a different reason. So do you ever find yourself having to train from a different angle?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
By all means.
I know. I bet he do.
Absolutely. I look at it as, I always say my training is not just training the body. When a client comes to me, I'm working on your mind, your body, and your spirit. Because I know it's more to it than just you know, like we were talking about, you ask the question, why are you here? Most of the time men go in, it's all because it's a visual thing. Everyone's visual. You know, we like nice things. We like looking at nice things, nice people. So it's a visual thing. So you're initially going in there because I want to look a certain way. That's the main reason most people tend to, you know, start working out. They want to look a certain way. So the thing is, you're coming in, you're working out, and we're talking about this on the outside, but where Anthony comes in here, we really need to also be talking about what's going up in here. And then that's when, in the course of your sessions and time with me, and the time I get to know you and having conversations with you, you know, I start to pick up on other things in regards to, you know, why you're here, what other issues that you may be dealing with. You know, my thing is that when you're working on your health, I always say you definitely got to work on your mindset. Your thinking process, how your thoughts are. Obviously, you got to work on your health set, your physical side, your nutrition. You got to work on your heart set, your emotions, and being able to express them a certain way. And like you said, a lot of times men were not taught to be able to express their emotions. A lot of men don't know and understanding about social emotional learning. A lot of children, young people don't know how to do that.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah. So you got to be able to do that. And then the other area is your inner being, your spirit, your soul. Yeah. That part that's deeper inside of you, outside of just, you know, the physical body, the mind, just that part of you that comes from just a place that sometimes we can't even describe.
Right.
You know, so it's about tapping into and working on all of that. But coming in initially, I want to look a certain way. But then we got to get to, okay, what are some behaviors and habits and things that you're doing that may have led you to where you are? Because people tend to come in and want that quick fix. But we need to figure out, okay, what got you here? Because you didn't get here overnight, and we're not going to get you to where you want to go overnight. So now we're talking about behavioral change.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of times people come to the gym for a bunch of different reasons, like he said. You can come in there looking for a friend. You got watchers. I mean, they just come to the gym to see the people in the gym. Ain't touch the weight. But they'll come there and they'll watch you through that mirror and be watching everything you do. You even have those people that'll come up and they'll come stand by you while you working out and just look at what you're doing.
Wears me out.
Listen, you get them all. You get them, and they'll come in just to watch the ladies. They'll come and just watch the men. You get the people to come in there, like I said, looking for a friend, meaning I'll get a trainer because he's going to talk to me. And I want to open up to somebody, but I got to see what kind of trainer he is. Is he a drill sergeant? Is he compassionate? Do he know his stuff? So you go in there, you have people going into the gym for a bunch of reasons, not even for I don't want to look good. I just want to talk to somebody. So being in the gym as a trainer, you're also a therapist because if I come and work with you, at some point I'm going to share where I'm at. So you're absolutely right. So
because it's a sense. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're right. You're right.
No, I think it's a sense of vulnerability, but I think that men.
Trainer is isn't scary. Now, if you called yourself a trainer, more people are going to be willing to come to you. What do you train? I train on this area of what you do your therapy or counseling on. I'm more prone to say, I'll come and sit here with you and talk to you. But when you say therapist, that means I got a problem.
That is
And
true.
I ain't willing to accept that I have a problem. I don't have a problem. I'm not crazy like you said. Counseling, you get a little bit more in that area because it's a conversation now. It's not that I have a problem.
It's basically all we do. It's talk therapy. So it's basically have a conversation, identifying flawed thinking patterns and how to correct those. It's a very simple process. It's not scary at all. We're not here to judge you at all.
And that's what a lot of people think.
And we don't tell you what to do either. Most of the time, you already know what to do. You just need somebody to help you.
That's it. I need to talk to you so I can hear myself tell myself what to do. I know I need to walk through that door and not that one over there. But I'm going to keep going through that door over there. You know what I mean? That's my door. That's right by my house. And then when I come talk to you, you say, well, you know, if you came out and made a left, you'll be in the same spot. Yeah. And that's a lot of times, that sounds scary to people. Me, myself, I think a therapist is great. If you can go in and talk to somebody, a trainer is great, a close friend. You know what I mean? Same thing, you're a therapist because I can come and share things with you and help me get over the hump of where I've been sitting, you know what I mean, or whatever.
Right.
So I think it's what y'all do are great.
I've had times where I have referred clients to a counselor or a therapist because of conversations we've had. And I'm like, okay, this is out of my scope of practice.
Yeah.
So
That's good. You don't want to give them the bad advice.
No,
That's good.
right. I let people know, yeah, I may have certain training and education in certain areas, but I'm not a licensed professional counselor. So if my job is to help the whole of you, that's how I look at my training, the whole of you, then let me refer you out to someone who can take you to that next level when we're talking about your heart set and your mindset. Because now that's what we got to work on, along with working on your physical side of it.
As you all were talking, I was thinking about this experience. I'm in the gym, and this is why I posed the question of why people are there. Because I'm in the gym, and here's a guy that's over on, I think he was doing legs. He was working on legs, and he was over there with his little headphones on in his own little world. But for whatever reason, he caught my attention. And he's doing his exercise, but one thing that I noticed is that in the middle of it, his breaks or whatever, they were a little lengthy. And he just stood there and he stared at himself in the mirror. And I'm across the room and I'm looking like, that's not a regular stare, something. And so I just kind of kept watching him, you know. After about the third set, I purposely went over and got on the machine closer just to kind of see. And I noticed before he could complete his third set, this man came up and he dropped his head and just started crying in the gym. And so at that point, I felt, moved to go over. So I went over and I talked to him. I said, hey, listen, I noticed you from over there, and I don't want you to think it's anything weird, but I just want you to know that I was watching you and something is going on. And my question to him was the same question that I posed here. Why are you here? And what he told me was, I'm here because I'm trying to save my life. I'm here because I've lost everything. I'm here not because, I want to look nice, but if you only knew what was going on in here, this is my only escape. And what I found is that for a lot of men, and I'm sure you all have seen this, for a lot of men, we'll find a place of escape that has safety attached to it.
Absolutely.
Safety for the confidence, safety to guard the vulnerability.
Yeah. No judgment is in here.
It ain't no judgment in here because this is where I'm supposed to be, to look aesthetically like you may think I need to look, right? But on the inside of me, there's so much going on, and this is my only place. It's either this or it's gonna be drugs. It's either this or I'm gonna be doing something else, right? So from a mental health standpoint, talking about men's health, from a mental health standpoint, what do you feel is the biggest challenge, though, for men to put as much exercise into physical fitness, into mental health? And I know I posed that before, but I ask it again for a different reason, and I'll share that why. But I just want to pose that. What do you think that biggest challenge is?
I think the biggest challenge is that, like you said, people don't want to think that they're crazy or what have you. There has been so much medical mistrust in doctors and to the government, with people being paranoid about things. Or they're going to judge me. Oh, this isn't a safe space. However, you have to be a culturally competent clinician, as well as being able to identify from an African American or from a male perspective. I'm talking about for a black man or what have you. So you have to find someone that resonates with you, that can see from your perspective as well, that's not going to judge you, it's going to create a safe space for you to come in there and unpack that emotional baggage. Just like you stated that that gentleman was in there stating that this is his escape or what have you. That's a positive escape and coping mechanism right there, because you could have been out there doing abuse or drugs or what have you. So then we'll have something else to deal with, such as the substance abuse. However, we need to identify the main root of the problem of why you feel this way. Besides, you want to look good or what have you, but what's the emotional component as well? So a lot of men don't want to process that.
Then why do you feel like they don't?
Like I said earlier, we were taught in our culture. In our culture, we were taught that men aren't supposed to cry. Men are supposed to be strong. You're supposed to be the alpha. You're supposed to be the breadwinner. You're supposed to be exactly. Right. I can't look weak. If I look weak, that's a feminine trait.
Right. All these ideals of masculinity. What masculinity is supposed to be.
You said one word that was so pivotal.
The
ideals.
The ideals of what masculinity is supposed to be. So men are taught, again, like it's, especially when you look at it from, like you said, an African American community standpoint. You know, I remember growing up and you know, someone fell, a male, you know, I fell or something. And my mother didn't say this to me, thank God, but I remember hearing other relatives say to their kids, "Oh, boy, get up! Stop crying. You be all right. Shake that off."
And we share that culture.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that was embedded in, you know, in a child, and they carry that into adulthood, into manhood. So as a man, and this is where sometimes when you talk about relationship with men and women, women find it hard to be like, "Oh, my guy, he never talks, he doesn't open up." Yeah, well, because he was taught not to. He was taught to keep that in. Yeah. And that's sometimes a challenge, and you hit that wall when you're expressive of your feelings and emotions, he's not. Yeah. So, you know, it's that idea of masculinity.
Mm-hmm. But on the other side, when you get the person that does open up and he is willing to share that, women look at it like, you soft.
Right.
Like, why are you over here? What you crying for?
Exactly. What do you really want?
You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, so it actually leaves the man in a place of like, you know, I'd rather be right here in the middle. You ain't gonna see me cry. You ain't gonna see me, you know what I'm saying? Like do any of those things that it's just gonna keep me in the middle. I'm fearing to cry in front of you or express my feelings because of how you look at me. And then if I do it, I mean, of how other people look at me. Like say if I'm with you guys and I'm the one over here and I'm crying and everything, y'all be like, what's wrong with you? You know what I mean? It don't look good with y'all, so I need to maintain this thing here, this tough look with y'all.
Right.
And
it's the image.
The image, right. And then on the other end, when I'm with my woman, if I'm crying, she looking at me the same way y'all would. He's soft. What you doing that for? So they definitely put us growing up in a box.
But I think that, and we've discussed this on a previous episode, I don't think that that's a reality for our counterparts, and more particularly our white counterparts. I don't think that they were, not all of them, but in my experience and what I've been exposed to, I don't find that they share that culturally as we do. I don't think that they have been taught to not emote like we have as children, because it was that, boy, get up, you'll be all right, brush it off. What is masculinity, though?
It's subjective.
Right.
However, what we've been taught historically, what we all just said, you have to be alpha. You're not supposed to show those emotions or whatever. But masculinity is subjective to whomever now.
But what do you mean by subjective? What does that mean?
Meaning that you can create and define it the way that you want to.
Now.
Which is great. Past, not
is
so
great.
much.
In the past, masculinity mean to, like I said, man up, to step in front of the bullet, to be the person that there is no tears, stop crying. That's masculine. Masculine is when I come into the room, I demand the attention of everybody, man and woman. Yeah, you need to know that. Like he said, the alpha, that's masculinity. That's what it was. But you said a great point. Like, that's what it used to be. You know, you can define what your masculinity is now yourself. It doesn't mean that I have to be the one that sits in the room and I'm the toughest in the room. It doesn't mean that. I can be the smartest in the room, and that's masculine.
Yeah.
Right. And so the other thing to that I was going to say too, it's a combination of two things. Also, culturally, it's different. So, for example, within a lot of Hispanic cultures, and this is going to go into my second part about behaviors, a lot of, within the Hispanic culture, a lot of men do roles sometimes that people in our culture may look at as, you know, that's maybe something more like a female would do. Like a lot of Hispanics in their communities, the males, they tend to be the ones who do a lot of cooking. Not saying that women don't cook, but a lot of men do the cooking. You know, it's shared culturally, and I learned some of this, you know, just traveling throughout the world and stuff. Whereas they're not saying that black men don't cook, they do, but typically the idea is that the woman's in the kitchen cooking, you know, and the man, he's coming home from work and you feed him. He's not doing
the breadwinner.
Right,
Yeah,
he's not
yeah,
doing the
yeah,
cooking.
yeah.
But in other cultures, the man can be the breadwinner, but he's the one cooking as well. So sometimes the behaviors is looked at as not being masculine. Oh, because you do the laundry, you're
Right.
saying, well, you know, that's
Right,
the woman's job.
right,
You know,
right.
we start to put these labels on what is masculine, what is not, you know, masculine. And that, like you said, that was then in a sense, and we're now moving more into a culture and society where it's becoming a bit more, you know, broad as far as, and not dimensional into a box as far as what masculinity is.
And see, for me, I don't even think it's a masculinity or a femininity issue. What I think is, it is just what it is. In this moment, I have to be this person. Because I think about the single mother that don't have a man, that has children, and she have to show up the same way and protect and defend, but she's feminine.
So are you saying women can't be masculine?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is, I think that it's not a masculine or feminine thing. I think that people show up the way that they need to based on the scenario and the circumstances of whatever it is. But I think what happens though is that society labels the man, particularly the African American man, because we share that culture, that, okay, now for you, and for you, and for you, and for me, you have to show up and it has to look
A certain
way.
like
But
this.
see, that's how it used to be. I don't know if it's so much that
It's
way
still
now.
being taught.
It's still being taught. Society won't let people be. I straddled the fence. I embraced my masculine and my feminine energy all at once. I used to work in corporate America. So in corporate America, working in HR, you had to be a certain way or what have you. Then I went into working into the beauty industry as a makeup artist. So me being a queer black man, of course, women were gravitated towards me or what have you. And that's how I kind of ended up into the career of counseling, because in the makeup chair, people became vulnerable and they tell you their life stories. It's a safe space. I was kind of scared when I went into my practice of being a counselor, whatever. How are these people going to identify with a black gay man? Especially one of my first clients was a man that was heterosexual going through a divorce. And after the third session, he was like, I never really believed in therapy. I thought therapy was a joke. However, you make it so relatable and you don't judge. I said, I can't judge you. That's not my thing to do. Your higher power and whoever you pray to, that's who's going to judge you or what have you. So it's all about creating a safe space for men to unpack that emotional baggage or whatever that they need to unpack, take all the pieces of the puzzle apart, put them back together safely, and create wholeness.
Yeah. How was that experience? How was that experience for you though, as the counselor, jumping off the first time, and your first client is a heterosexual male? What happened on the inside of you in terms of interacting before you even met him?
I always thought back to what my professor told me, Anthony, you're enough. You don't have to put on any airs, you don't have to put on any fronts, just be yourself. And to this day, he still comes, so.
That's good. That's good. Kevin, You mentioned that there are times where you can quickly be in tune with the mind of a man. You can quickly detect, okay,
Something else is going on.
something else is going on. And it ain't got nothing to do with him just wanting bigger arms.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it ain't got nothing to do with that. In your experience though, have it ever became a moment where you was training and you yourself as a professional did not even feel like you was at your best self and trying to give somebody else everything?
Yeah. There definitely have been times when I experienced that, when I don't feel like I haven't felt, my best, but I'm still showing up with what I have at that time. So I may not be at 100.
Yeah.
I may be on 60 or 70, but I'm gonna give the projection that I am on 100
Because his 60 or 70 could be 100 to me.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I've trained too. I trained for about 2 years, trained too. So like hearing him talk, I'm like, you pick it up quick.
You do.
But like, so I don't mean to cut you off, but yeah, like you see it. You would know right away. And today,
bigger than mine, but that's fine.
today I just don't feel like it.
Right.
But I have somebody I got to go because, for one, I want them to be better. I love what I do. They paid me, and I owe it to them. So I'm showing up, and I'm gonna give them this 60% that you not doing this, and I'm training you. You like, man, this dude is always on 100. Not knowing that today, like, you don't even know, man, I was this close to telling you, like, hey, listen, man, we gonna make this up tomorrow. Right. But you still show up, so.
And I'll share a personal experience with that. So last year, we had just moved into our new gym, on March 20th. 5 days later, my sister passed suddenly. 5 days after we moved into the gym. My whole life shifted.
It's gonna change you, man.
Yeah.
Especially if you were close to her,
Yeah.
it changes you.
Older or younger?
Younger. 4 years younger than me.
4 years younger.
Yeah. So I still had to show up for my clients. I'm grieving and I had to handle my grief, but I still had to show up for them because I'm their accountability partner. That's why they hired me. The conversations I have in our consultations, I'm your accountability partner. So at times I'm on 60, but I'm still, and they knew what was going on. They asked me, Coach, you okay? Yeah, I'm good. I'm fine. And, but I still had to show up because I owed it to them, but it also was helping me in the process of that. So yeah, I mean, you do have those situations, those experiences when you do, you're not at your, your height, your best, but for your clients, you may, you just being there actually may just be your best that they need.
I think about when you say that, about having an experience with a client, if you will, as a makeup artist, and as you know, Anthony, people sit in those chairs and you will be surprised of some of the stuff that we hear, and because women are more prone to share,
Right.
Yeah.
as opposed to a man. You gotta.
Now, when you train, and you'll be surprised. He'll be surprised as to what a man will share or a woman will share with him as a trainer.
Yeah,
once
they
I
get
feel like I'm
comfortable with
safe,
you. Right.
and I know you're not judging me because I couldn't lift none of that stuff over there. And you didn't judge me. You ain't say, man, come on with your weak. You know what I mean? Pick that. You didn't hit me with that.
I can see
Nor do
that,
y'all,
yeah.
when they come and get their makeup, you say, sit your ugly butt down, let me get you together. Y'all don't hit them with that, so I'm safe right here. So
a safe
I can
space.
open up and tell you everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna judge me.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about it like
Yeah,
that.
it's a safe place.
It's parallel there. I remember, there's been quite a few times, but I remember there was a time where this lady came in to get her makeup done, and she was so excited. She was so excited. First of all, I did not want to show up. 2, I didn't feel like being there. 3, I did not feel like being creative whatsoever.
Been
Because as
there
a makeup
before.
artist, every look is customized because the features are different, placement is different, everything is different, color is different, everything is different. Just like we're training, the body is different. Well, with this particular case, I remember I'm standing there rather, and I'm doing this woman makeup. She said, yeah, I'm going to a wedding. Oh my gosh, and the dress looked like this. And all I heard after the dress looked like this is
Yeah.
Charlie Brown.
It was
Charlie Brown.
I heard
Yeah.
nothing else. Because in my mind, what DeMarlo was going through and was experiencing at that time, I couldn't even connect with that experience.
Yeah.
Right.
So I find myself still, okay, just go with, you got to tap in. Go with this. Just talking about showing up. I got to tap in and do this. When I got done, she looked in that mirror and she said, oh, this is exactly what I wanted. And I said then,
Your
said,
60 was her 100.
Right.
my 10 was her 100. And I said, wow, but this is what stuck with me. She turned around after I got done and she looked at me. She said, let me tell you something. The reason why I kept talking and telling you about my experience and how I'm so excited is because I picked up very quickly that something was going on with you. So to distract you in this moment, because one, I don't want you to mess up my face.
Right.
I don't want you to mess it up. And two, I want you to know that whatever that is, be okay with you.
Exactly.
Be okay with you. Whatever that looks like, you don't have to go into it. You don't have to elaborate. You don't have to share none of that, but be okay with you. And I think that as men, a lot of time, particularly black men, that's a hang up because of what we've been taught. I can't be okay with expressing my feelings emotionally because I've been taught not to emote. I can't really express myself when it comes to grief because I've been taught, okay, you'll be all right.
It's gonna be all right.
The Lord giveth,
Right.
and the Lord taketh away. It's gonna get better. Pray about it. But I'm not there. In my grieving process, I'm not there. When you talk about the loss of your sister, I think about the loss of my father and my grandmother back to back. And I'm standing there in the funeral home and I'm looking at my father, and my cousin says to me, don't cry because this is what you prayed for. And immediately I felt humiliated and I wanted to attack him right there in the funeral home. And I looked at him and he said, understand what I'm saying? It didn't click to me to what he was saying to after. What he meant was, you prayed for your father to be at peace.
Yeah, exactly.
This is how peace presented itself. This was the peace for him. Now, my response to him was this. I understood what you was trying to convey, but you didn't understand that I was not in a place to even receive
it
that
at that time.
Right.
I was that's not where I was because this is my daddy. You see what I'm saying?
And
I
the
hear what
sound
you're
of that just, it didn't sound right at all.
Yeah, that delivery came off. So, but I have learned over the years, and especially getting into more of the physical fitness, the mental health, and just wellness altogether. What I've learned is that it is okay to be this version of who I am in this season. It is okay for you to be that version of who you are in this season. In a previous show, we talked about evolving as opposed to a New Year's resolution. I chose to call it a New Year's evolution because people evolve, or you should want to. So I feel like in this season, it's okay. Give yourself permission, because I've seen so many men to where they don't give themselves permission to be okay with them. This is who I am. Like you said, I embrace the masculine side, I embrace the feminine side. But you didn't always do that. How do you do it?
I can't tell you how to do it.
What you mean you can't tell me? You the therapist.
You have to be open and honest with yourself. It's
How do
different
I
for
give
everybody.
myself, listen, how do I give myself permission to be me when I have been taught for 30, 40, 50 years to be someone else? How do I give myself permission to just simply be me and whatever that looks like?
You have to know what makes DeMarlo happy, and you have to be able to unlearn things that you have been taught. and accept that for what it is. Sometimes we don't want to set boundaries with family members. That can be hard, or undo what you've been taught as a child. However, it may not be right.
Yeah.
So you have to learn for yourself.
You got to do what works for
Exactly what works for you.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to say, I've done that for 30 years.
And where did it get
And
you?
I don't feel like I moved from this spot. So I'm gonna do it differently. And when you do, you're gonna see you were just walking in circles in that spot. That one spot, you were just moving in circles. And now that you did it differently, you're gonna see yourself move forward. So it's on you. It's a you thing. It's when you ready to do it, that's when the time is.
I think, in summation, I think what the beautiful thing about wellness and the beautiful thing about fitness is making sure that those energies match externally and internally. Because I choose to look
It's
as
a choice.
good.
It's definitely a choice.
It's a choice. I choose to look as good on the inside as I do on the outside to the best of my ability. But moreover, I am so interested in evolving and becoming a better version of myself mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all
Absolutely.
of that. I want to strengthen the delicacy of my vulnerability. You know what I mean? That's what most
like
men, and that's what keeps us from knowing the how. And the why. When they come to you, I don't know how to give myself permission. I don't know how to do that. First, we got to get in tune with who we are and accept exactly. Who
Accept.
we
You have to
are.
accept you
Once
people.
you accept who you are, it is my belief that you begin to live life differently. You look through different lens to yourself, and you just begin to operate differently. I can guarantee you that Kevin ain't always looked like this. It came with discipline. It came with training. It came with consistency. But more importantly, it came with a made up mind to say, I want to do it differently. You know what I mean? And everybody's story is different. I have we can go on and on and on about this, but we gonna have to wrap up because Kevin got to get my waist smaller and my shoulders bigger because I know we talked about it, but physical fitness, I'm gonna look good. Man, this has been incredible. Lift your glasses up. Thank y'all so much for coming and offering your expertise and joining me and my co-host when men talk. Thank y'all so much. Cheers.